when there is no plan B, plan A always works.
Mike, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah,
it's an
man.
honor to have you. We've been trying to set this up for a while, so it's finally an honor to have you here.
It's been some time, but I appreciate you even having me on this thing, and looking forward to having a powerful conversation, man. We're about to bring the fire. I know that much, so let's do this.
Mike, so there's this quote, this passage from the 10X Rule, which is a book I'm pretty sure you've read before.
Several hundred times.
And it states the following: money and power follow attention. So whoever can get the most attention is the person who takes the most action, and sooner or later will get the most results.
I mean, listen, that quote speaks volumes to me, not only because of the past ecosystem that I was a part of, and I saw that happen like in front of my eyes. Listen, I saw a business, because of attention, go from 17.5 million to over 4.2 billion in a real estate fund. Like I saw that. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. And then the second thing that comes to mind is that, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you step out into a marketplace and you step in the world of being unknown. And I know for sure that the more you are known, the higher probability opportunities present themselves, and the more people take you seriously. And so I am 100% in accordance with what you just read. And honestly, that's the number one battle that we face every single day is that attention thing. And that's where our intention lies, is gaining attention every single day.
So you mentioned being unknown.
Yeah.
How does someone get to become known?
Oh, man. Listen, if I had the magic wand for that, brother, we'd be on a yacht in Greece right now. No, but known, you do know. You do it through action, and you do it through outreach, and you do it through being on any single platform that's humanly possible, getting your name out there. Listen, it doesn't matter if it's social media. It doesn't matter if it's podcast. It doesn't matter if it's the news. It doesn't matter if you attach yourself to a high-level production that's on Netflix. It could be the newspaper. It could be articles. It could be magazines. It could be anything. The goal is to be everywhere all the time. That's it. So how do you become known? Well, number one, you have to have intention to become known. And then number two, you got to go to where there are crowds. You got to go to where there are stages. And if you don't find yourself on a stage or can go to a stage, then you got to create your own stage. And so this being known thing, it's huge. Listen, you look at all the big dogs. It doesn't matter if it's business. It doesn't matter if it's entertainment. It doesn't matter if it's anything. The ones that absolutely dominate, they're not just known, but they continue to be known. They stay relevant. You look at guys like Shaq. That guy stopped playing the basketball, 15 years ago. That guy is on every single commercial today. He's hosting every single damn TV show today that has to do with the NBA. Like, I look at those symbols of, hey, continue to push and stay relevant as another example of just the importance of being known. So being known is the first thing, and you got to create your stage, you got to create your standard, you got to create that environment, that ecosystem, that community, right? But staying known, bro, that's where I feel that the billionaires play, to be honest with you.
When did that click in your head that if you didn't become known, you weren't going to reach a significant amount of success? When did that click in your head?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that it clicked in my head after my last job, before going into entrepreneurship. When you're in high school, okay, you're not really thinking at that level. Honestly, at least I wasn't, right? But the things that we were accomplishing in high school from a sports standpoint, you find yourself, you were attached to a brand. That brand was known. It was the high school. It was going to state track and fields. It was doing those things. That's a brand. You go to college, have the opportunity to play football at Florida State University. We're playing in front of 85,000 people every single Saturday. You don't realize that you're part of a brand, but you are part of a brand. I didn't realize that when we were in that ecosystem, in that environment, right? You transition to the past couple of jobs that I had, and all the results. Yes, they come from hard work. They come from dedication. They come from a resilience. They come from discipline, but they also come from the fact that the business that you're affiliated with is already known. So you go from being a part of brands that are already known and winning because of that, partially, obviously, hard work, dedication, the whole 9 yards, and then you open up a business. And then your business, the only people that know that you have a business is your mom and your dad. Okay, that's great. Love my mom and my dad, but I'm not going to be doing business with them. So then the moment clicked. I was like, damn, like, okay, this getting known thing is important. It's vital. I need to have more of an area of focus on it. And so now my day-to-day running a business is of course, customer acquisition. That's obviously very, very important. But I would honestly say that, man, I look at this brand thing as even more important than that, because with the brand comes the customer acquisition. With the brand and being known comes the opportunities. With the brand and being known comes the ability to walk into rooms and people actually take you seriously. So I am constantly focused on that all the time. It never leaves my head until we get to the level of Coca-Cola. I don't think it ever will.
So you mentioned brand and customer acquisition. Obviously, brand takes years. Mm-hmm. Customer acquisition is something that you have to do on a day-to-day. Mm-hmm. How do you balance that? How do you know which to focus on if you want to build a brand, but at the same time, you have to get customers in order to build a business?
Yeah. So
how are you managing that right now?
Great question. Listen, we were always taught. I was taught, people like doing business with people that they gravitate towards, that they like, right? Yes, the product and service could be insurmountable. But if the person that's representing the product and service they don't vibe with, there's still a barrier, if you will. So as we're growing a business, I realized, okay, yes, I can focus on customer acquisition. Yes, I can focus on growing a business, but why don't I just make that part of my brand and push that work ethic, that discipline, calling people, dealing with angry customers, upsells, cross sales, shooting different content like this, like all that is a brand. And so what I started to realize is the more people see you work, the more people can relate to your work. The more the people see that you care about yourself. I mean, I'm doing this all not because of a business. I'm not doing this for brand necessarily. I'm not doing this for fame. I'm not doing this for anything other than it's my last name. Like, I need my last name to be everlasting, man. Like, that's more important than anything. So when they see someone work and work and work and work and work, people have to respect that when it comes to a point. So as opposed to me thinking that they're two different things, I'm just looking at growing a business and building a brand as the same thing, because my brand right now is growing a business. So I'm just going to show customer acquisition, and then I'm going to put customer acquisition content, brand content out there while I'm actually acquiring a customer. So you're killing two birds with one stone. At least for right now, that's what I'm doing. Of course, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road, I'll be at a different level. It'll require a different set of skills or different set of execution plan, and we'll adjust at that time. But that's how I'm balancing it right now. I'm not really balancing it. I'm just doing both at the exact same time.
Which is how it should be.
Yeah.
So you went to school. You got a degree.
Yeah.
Why sales? Why did you get into sales if it's such a tough world to get into? Why not just go get a job, get a salary, be comfortable for the rest of your life, get a retirement plan that the employer is going to provide you?
Yeah.
Why sales if it's one of the most difficult things you can do in your life?
I went to Florida State University. Shout out Go Noles all day, every single day. And I was in biology and exercise science major. Inorganic chem, human biochem, Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, physics. Like, those are all the classes that I was in while doing football, like wild stuff. I don't even know how I did that stuff when I look back. And everything led to, okay, either it's sports or the medical space. Okay. So in actuality, after college, went to medical device sales college over in Colorado, was training out there too for track and field and whatnot. And then just naturally, you're in the medical space, but now you're doing orthopedic and pharmaceutical sales. Now you're selling to doctors. Like, it was just what it was. It was either becoming a doc or being in the medical space in some way, shape, or form. I knew I could talk, but it's like, bro, you got to have some substance to what are you talking about? So we went that route, and by the grace of the man above, it just started to roll on into sales. There's no way I'm punching data into a computer. That's not my personality. There's no way. There's no way. I love customer service. Service that we were always taught, service is senior selling. But I'm not going to be a guy that's just sitting there and doing customer service calls. Like, I'm an athlete by nature. I need to kill. I need to play the game. The game is the thing that excites me. So if you're not hitting somebody on a field, okay, that's one game. Hit somebody on the damn phone. Get them to close a deal. That's kind of how I see it. So it's got the same requirements, and you find yourself having to do the same thing. It requires the same discipline. It's a grind. It's grueling. It's tough. But when you score a TD, you score a TD, and when you close a deal, you close a deal. And honestly, it's somewhat of the same feeling. So I think that's why naturally, just by my nature of being, it transitioned into sales.
I think sales is more difficult than any sort of mathematics, science, history, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
How was that process for you of learning sales? Because you don't learn how to sell from a book. If you can read 10,000 books on sales, unless you get on the phone, unless you close the sale, you're not gonna know what sales is about. How was that process for you? Learning how to sell, learning how to close the deal.
So I remember my first actual sales job was cellular sales. Selling phones. Everybody does it, at a young age. Great. The second job that I had, sales job, and in that job, I just learned how to interact with people, walk up to people. There was no phones at that time. I'm not cold calling people, but they're there. You got to talk to them. Just being engaging, like opening up to people. Even if they have a closed wall, you can still break it down. That's what I learned from that part. That's the first part of sales, is that meet and greet, that walk up. Okay, the next sales job that I had was in orthopedic and pharmaceutical sales. Okay, we're selling hard to finds to massive medical practices across the United States and throughout the world. You're talking to director of operations of hospitals, or the pharmacy buyer, or high-level docs, like, giving presentations, so on and so forth. So what I learned there was how to present, and then what I also learned was the importance of follow-up. Okay. I didn't realize I was learning the importance of follow-up, but I learned the importance of follow-up there, because you had to be on these people's ass in order for them to buy your product or prescribe for your thing. You had to. But I still wasn't learning sales. I just understood an element of sales, which was follow-up, and then work ethic. The only thing I learned from that pharmaceutical sales job other than follow-up was the fact that, okay, I got to beat everybody in this organization. The only way I can do it is by dials and talk time. So I would literally go back to the machine every single Friday and make sure I was number one in dials and talk time. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just knew, like, that's the only metric you got, is that. And I went to number one in that company in like 2 years. But the sales game really happened in my third sales role. And which was working alongside Grant Cardone for 5 years. In sales and business development, and that's when I learned sales. You think you know how to sell. Everybody watching this thing, you think you know how to sell, bro. You ain't know how to sell. Once I got into that ecosystem, once I was pushed to a way different level than I've ever even seen, and understood the science. And I'm not talking about the NLPs and psychology behind it. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the actual process of what the hell is actually going on in every single stage of the sale, and realizing that selling and closing are two different skill sets, realizing that there's transition points throughout. You got to negotiate, then you got to go to close, and even the sale's not over with yet. Like, learning all that, that's where I learned sales. That's where I learned it.
What do you think is a proper process to follow to close a sale?
Man.
From initial contact.
Yeah.
How do you think that process usually goes?
Yeah, I mean that initial process usually goes. They have no idea who you are, so you got to greet. You got to do your meet and greet, your greeting, right? You got to say a major claim or set a hook so deep in them that they almost don't believe what it is that you're saying, right? You got to build enough certainty in yourself and your product and service. Then you got to go into fact-finding questions and earn more time to actually show them what it is that you got. You're going to have to follow up to get them to actually show up to that thing that they're probably not going to show up to once or twice or 3 times. But now you're selling yourself, right? You set that appointment. Then you got your demonstration, and that demonstration is all about how you position it. Listen, there's two types of demonstrations. Demonstrations with intention and demonstrations without. And when I say intention, I mean the intention to close. And you got to set the table up prior to getting on that Zoom call, getting that face-to-face meeting. Like, you have to do the right things prior to in order to put yourself in the best possible position to close. And then you got to close them. But it's not done there. Then you got to fulfill. And provide an incredible level of customer service. And only then, I don't even want to say only then, but then you have the ability to ask for referrals. But personally, you can ask for referrals at any point through those stages. It's just another form of follow-up.
So I'm going to ask you 2 separate questions.
Okay.
And I want you to answer both of them.
Okay.
For people watching this,
yeah,
can you explain to them the importance of number 1, believing in your product,
mm-hmm.
and number 2, the importance of follow-up? I want you to explain those 2. Believing in your product and the importance of follow-up.
Man, if you don't believe in your product, what are you doing? If you don't believe, I mean, just think about it. Like, okay, outside of a product, the things that you don't like to eat, you don't eat. The things that you enjoy to eat, you crush those things at the table. What do you think is going to be any different as it relates to representing a product or service that you believe in, that you like, as opposed to vice versa? Your product is a byproduct of you, right? And you have to, maybe you don't love your product at all times, because
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're not really selling the product anyways.
Yeah.
You got to love providing the outcome that your product or service delivers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get on board with that, then you believe in that, and you see the wins in that, that only increases your level of certainty when you're communicating with somebody, and it keeps your urgency at an all-time high because you 110% believe that, listen, even if you don't know this thing exists, this thing can help change X, Y, and Z. You got to believe in your product. You have to believe in your product. Now, follow-up. What do I think about follow-up? We were always taught it's the greatest sales secret of all time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I think that follow-up is literally everything. Everything, man. As you ask me that question, I'm going through 7 to 8 scenarios right now that are in my phone that I wish I could show, where there are text messages, voice notes, selfie videos, likes on Instagrams, articles on the company, testimonials, case studies, third-party validation. Like, it's all in front of me, and these people haven't responded yet. And they initially said they were interested, but they never told me no. And there's so many deals that we've closed in the past environments that I've been in, and in our current environment here at the Full Circle, man, like, where, shit, you got to follow with somebody 50, 60, 70 times in order for them to say yes. And it's unfortunately, it's just what the game is right now, which is why also your brand is a form of follow-up. Your brand is a form of, like, justification that they're doing the right thing. Follow-up is in every part of the sales process. I have to do it every single day. I was really talking to my partner yesterday and just laughing. I was talking to him about a previous or a current situation we were in. And I was like, bro, it's just so funny that nothing ever changes. Follow-up is so vital. And We were just laughing at the case like, bro, look at what I'm doing. I still got to do this to this day, and I don't think it's ever going to change. You got to follow up. If you don't follow up, there's just so many opportunities that are being left on the table. And the person who is most certain is usually the person that does the selling. We were always taught that. And your follow-up is a form of certainty. People buy into what it is that you got based off how you execute in the sales process. They realize that they're not buying the product and service, just the product and service and the result. They're also buying you. And if you're 100% certain you stay in the game and you continue to follow up, it's inevitable. And as long as they don't tell you no, freaking keep going. And even if they do tell you no, then your response should be, hey, I know you told me no, right? I'm not a no man. I'm a yes man. So let's take that no and keep it at a maybe. I'll eject from the conversation. I'll eject from this process. Let me go ahead and follow up with you here in the next 6 to 8 months. We'll reassess the situation there. Is that fair? Yeah. Hey, and by the way, and then you go into giving them value. That's it.
I was just going to say that because if you have a solution for someone and you know that they need it, even after they say no, if you're ethical, you should go back to them and tell them, hey, like, this is for you. You have to do this.
100%.
It's for your own good.
100%. Let me ask you this, and obviously you don't know the statistic, but you'll have an aha moment. How many marriages today stemmed from a I'm not interested 5 years ago at a bar? Probably 80% of them. We're talking about marriage, bro. So like, a no means absolutely nothing. You know, I'm sure my mom told my dad no several times. Okay, great. Now out comes me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's crazy to think about.
It's just like, bro,
but it's true.
Give me a break.
It's true. It's true.
Man, you know?
And also, I want to make a statement from the question I just asked you right now, connecting those two, the follow up and believing in your product. If you really believe in your product and you know that it helps people, you're gonna follow up. You're gonna follow up. It's not even something that you have to force yourself to do. Why do you think sales is a skill that anyone should master, no matter the profession?
You know, I'll say this much: it is the reason. It is partially the reason as to why we've been able to get the traction we've been able to get in such a short amount of time within the organization, and that and brand. But that idea that sales is number one, you know, I mean, just look at the guys. Like I think Mark Cuban even said it. Mark Cuban is listen. If you want to know what really works, just study the billionaires. Even Mark Cuban said, like I think it was last year or the year before on a podcast, he's like, sales is literally the most important skill set that everybody should know. Look at his bank account. Like, it's not even like what I say. It's what the guys who run the entire freaking American GDP, it's what they say. Like, sales is everything. We live in a transactional world. Everything is money, and there's exchange of value everywhere. So if you can't exchange value, then you're going to be gobbled up by the society. So, I mean, bro, what are you doing?
It's just monetizing it, monetizing the value.
That's it, bro.
If someone's starting out in sales right now and they're getting hit on the phone, people are saying, hey, I'm not interested. Hey, don't call me ever again. Sales is tough.
Yeah, it is.
What advice would you give them?
First off, I would say, suck it up. So what? Like, expect that. Expect 150 of those every single day. Expect 200 of those every single day. And when you hit 200, laugh. Because you're getting one step closer to a yes. What I would also say is this. You can't let emotion get in the way of, like, doing something. So whatever anybody is saying has nothing to do with you and has everything to do with their past situation or past experience or something that's going on in their life that you can't control. So don't take it to heart. What I'll also say to that person who's just starting in sales is reflect and ask yourself, are you really doing the amount of outreach that's necessary to close the amount of deals that you want to close? You know, I came from an environment before opening up this agency. We're doing it, man. We're doing it. Our goal is to be $1 billion agency. We will do that. But I came from an organization where we were averaging anywhere from 42 to 48,000 outbound cold calls a year. Every single year for 5 years. Like, are you doing that type of work? Like, are you making 10 calls a day and you're hearing 10 no's and then you're hanging up? Or are you making 700 calls a day? because as you know, the more reps, the more at bats, the better you get. And so for that person that's just starting, man, you know, don't focus necessarily on the end result. Focus on getting one step closer to the end result with the conversations that you currently have. You don't necessarily need to focus on the close. Like a one call close is obviously everything, and everybody wants that. But man, if you can keep somebody on the phone for 5 seconds, and then you incrementally grow to 15 seconds, and then you incrementally grow to, hey, I can at least set appointments. And then you start studying the demo, and you start studying what other people are doing to present the product and service. And now you understand the demo. I guarantee you, your meet and greet, your fact finding, and your setting appointments are going to only get stronger because you understand the demo. That was one thing. That was one thing that changed the game for me. I forgot who told me this, but they said, bro, if you want to get good at setting appointments, understand the demo. So we just started studying the demo, and all of a sudden my appointments went up because I knew how to talk about the product. I wasn't just selling the fact that you need to look at this. I understood what I was selling, and I was selling time to show them how to provide a solution to an area of opportunity that they may or may not exist. Like just it'll come as long as you work it, but you got to ask yourself, man, are you really working it?
You mentioned doing the right amount of work, and obviously when you work for a huge corporation, a huge organization, and they provide you with a list of people to call every single day, yeah, you can do that.
Absolutely.
But what about when you become a business owner?
Yeah.
No one gives you a list.
No one gives you a list.
Who do you call?
Bro, you reactivate your power base, man. Like when we first started, who do I call? I call every single person on my damn phone. And I let them know what it is we got going on. And then I ask them, hey, who do you know other than yourself that could utilize a product or service that it is that we're pushing to market today? How do I build a list? You go live on Instagram. You go live on TikTok. You go live anywhere you freaking humanly possibly can, and you start building a community. And then you start funneling emails, and you start asking people for their contact information, and you start taking that data and that information, and you build your own list. But you're so right. There is no list. You got to create the list. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's very hard to do. But I'm not saying that to say that you can't. I'm just saying, bro, you thought calling 1,000 leads was hard. Generate 1,000 leads first. yo, that's the hard part. That's the hard part. The easy part is just calling people. That's easy.
So you obviously had some level of success working with Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
What was that turning point that made you open up your own marketing agency and become a business owner?
Yeah. You know,
it's not easy. It's not easy when you have some level of success and you're making good money working for someone else.
Oh yeah.
Why leave if you're making good money?
You know, we're talking about, you know, this whole conversation back and forth has been about brand marketing, personal marketing, and development marketing, and your business marketing and sales, right? I mean, what is business when it's all said and done? It's sales and marketing. And every single business is a marketing company. It's just some businesses only provide marketing and other businesses market their product and service. So, and then every business has to be in sales because you got to transact. So it got to a point where, okay, I think I'm pretty good at this sales game. You know, if I had to bet on myself against a lot of people in the world, I'm pretty confident I will win it as it relates to sales. Maybe I won't win today, but I'm going to close the deal. I promise you I'm going to close the deal. So, you know, you get to that level and it's like, okay, as opposed to building for someone else, why don't you build for yourself? You know, you see people build and build teams and so on and so forth. And, you know, you're part of that for so long. And then you pick your head up and you're like, okay, but what does my last name bring to the table? Like, what do I got? You know, I've only been building something for me and only me for 2 years of my life. Like, think about that. Like there are people that live their entire lives building something for somebody else and literally have built nothing for themselves. And so, you know, that click happened and I was like, okay, you know, you've kind of mastered a skill set, even though I'm always studying, training on it every single day. How about you go ahead and do that thing for yourself, man? Like, so it's been a mission. It's been a grind. It's been a grind. grind.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, but so it ain't brain surgery. I don't got to do that. So,
Was it difficult to make that decision?
It wasn't, I don't, honestly, it was time. It was time. It was time. It wasn't that difficult to make the decision. I didn't jump into entrepreneurship with no funds and no skill set and no network. Like, that wasn't me, by the grace of the man above. So it was the right thing to do.
So you had funds, you had the skills, you had the network, but your brain still tells you, hey, like, you're gonna mess this up. Maybe you don't have the capabilities to do this.
Yeah.
How do you keep going when you're going through rough moments, when you have a terrible week, let's say, for example, a terrible day of
terrible
calling
month.
people and everyone ignores you, terrible month,
terrible quarter?
What do you do? How do you keep going?
I saw this this reel this morning. I sent it to my partner, and it was burn the bridges. Burn the bridges. There is no plan B. Like, I'm not going to work for anybody else. I'm not doing it. It's just a non-negotiable like thing for me. Like, it's just not happening right now. And if I did go to work for somebody else, it would be with somebody else, and you would have to pay me like 10 M's because I know exactly what it is that I bring to the table, man. Like, straight up. If Jay-Z called me today and said, Mike Schill, can you come work with us? Obviously, we would move forward. At a certain level, it's got to be a certain person. But yeah, you're going to take that opportunity because there's so much that comes with that. But like, I am not working for an average anything ever again in my life. Like, I'm just not going to do that. So there is no plan B. Like, I'm a bet on myself. Like, and yeah, man, you have your uncertainty days and it's a grind and it's a mission. And sometimes you question yourself. Hell, half the time I have no idea what it is that I'm doing. Listen, I am dialing to support my family. Like, think about that. Like, there is no like crutch. There is nothing to fall back. Like, there is nothing like that. And so, again, you burn the bridges, and if when there is no plan B, plan A always works.
I love that, by the way.
No.
The burning the bridges. I love that.
No.
How were the first few months of being in business? How was that for you?
It was good. It was like, in the sense of, there was a small brand that I built prior to opening up a business, right?
Yeah.
And so the first couple of deals actually came from that brand, and that was great. So the first couple of months in business were decent, man. We like, it was fine. It was fine. But what I will say is, we didn't have an identity as a business. We were taking anything and saying yes to anything, because in the beginning, you're just throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks. You're just like, you got to have a proof of concept. So the beginning phase, the first 1 to 2 to 3 months, I was signing people. But like month 8, month 9, month 10, that signing people went down. And then understanding what we do and what we don't want to do started to expose itself. Because the more you do, the more you understand. And we understood, okay, yeah, this opportunity to do X is great. And, let's say we pull 5K in from somebody, awesome stuff. But if it required 1,000 hours to deliver on, as opposed to another thing that we say yes to, that's 5K, that only requires 2 hours. Which one are you gonna do? You're gonna do the one with 2 hours, but we had to go through that struggle, and it was a struggle. And so then after the first couple of months and a down stat, and then we identified with, okay, we just want to do retention marketing. It allows for us to deliver the fastest, deliver the highest ROI. We can make the most money. It's incentive based, so we have a can't say no offer, and it allows for us to scale. So now we're in only retention marketing phase. But now we're realizing, hey, service industry is incredible. And we're always going to say service industry. But our service is only particular to a certain type of personnel, a certain type of business. They have to be at a certain level. products. Everybody can drink a Coca-Cola Classic. It doesn't matter if you're worth $250 million and if you have a strong e-commerce presence, or if you're 10 years old and you're walking to school. Everybody can drink a Coca-Cola product. So it's like now we're realizing, yes, I love the service space, but how do we attach products also while providing a service so we can capture more mind and market share? Like it's just the maturity of just really understanding where you want to fit, and I don't think it'll ever change as it relates to we're constantly learning something new. We're in phases. We're just going through phases, but we realize it, man. And we'll be at the top, though. Like, it's inevitable. Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I want to see you win.
Absolutely.
And I know you're going to win.
Hell yeah, man. We have to.
How are you finding clients right now?
Man, through cold calls, cold emails, social media platforms, building the brand, face-to-face events. Bro, love events. Love events. Yeah. Love events. People can't work events. Thank God I was taught how to work events.
Who taught you that?
Working at Cardone's, working at Grants. Bro, we did. I mean, there were years where, I was a part of maybe 150, 160 events. Like, you learn events. You learn how to walk up to people, how to shake a hand, how to not sit behind a booth, how to spark a conversation, how to set an appointment right then and there, how to follow, So this event thing, we were just at the SHOT Show in Vegas. A couple of our clients are in the outdoor recreation space as it relates to ammunition and different guns and so on and so forth. We do retention marketing for some of those guys too. And on average, there's anywhere between 150 to 200,000 people at the event every single second that the event was going on. Bro, you could look into the eyes of the majority of people. They were taken back. They didn't even know how to operate. I saw 200,000 people, and I was licking my chops. I'm like, bro, are you
200,000 leads.
200,000 leads. Let's freaking go. But so I love events, but we're pulling them that way too. And then referrals. Every way we possibly can right now. Like, it's never going to stop.
One thing I learned, which I feel might be valuable to you or to people listening to this, is that referrals, when you ask for referrals, it's better to ask for introductions. It sounds a little bit more powerful.
Yeah.
But to go back to what you said right now about cold emails, cold calling, events, do you think it's important to leverage cold calls, cold emails, like try to have an automation system around it? Because just cold outreach it's a process that takes so long. Yeah. How important is it to automate some of these things? I know it's difficult to automate cold calls, but I know there's multiple ways to automate cold emails.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is, and what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so I think it's incredibly important, especially, cold outreach, like using some source of digital platform, let's say an email. It's digital to me. Like that's email. Just get it out there. Incredible. That should be a system that's optimized and something that maybe you don't have to have a finger on at every single second. Excuse me. But and I think you have to incorporate it because it saves you time. That cold call.
No automating.
Maybe the initial, if you're generating a lead list and maybe that initial outreach and just fact finding, maybe that's something that can be automated. But bro, like even with this AI stuff, that's how I love AI. It saves me a little bit of time on the front end. But bro, ain't nobody gonna buy $150 million property via AI and never talk to a human. I am not gonna close. I'm not gonna close Nike for retention marketing with only an AI bot. They're never gonna talk to a human. You're out of your damn mind. You're out of your damn mind. You're out of your damn mind. I just can't see it. Maybe I'm only thinking like in today's marketplace, today's industry, but I just don't see that. So there has to be an element of like real human touch, and that element of real human touch is going to lie on the business owner or the employees, and they need to be trained on that type of touch because, bro, you got to conversate, you got to communicate.
Before you mentioned your ideal client for the full circle agency, not everyone qualifies. What's your ideal client and what do you do for them?
What we do is we increase the lifetime value of consumers. We take the data of current purchasing population and throw messaging at that data via text, email, loyalty, and subscription to get people to buy more. That's what we do.
You mentioned AI and that you don't think it's going to replace humans. By the way, I agree with you.
Not in totality. Yeah. Maybe a certain
like
degree,
the sales process.
Yeah,
the sales process.
But like, bro, come on, man.
and I mean, we can't say never because we don't
never,
know we don't know what the future brings.
Like, 40, 55, it's maybe.
But how has AI helped you though in the sales process?
Yeah,
what do you use AI for?
Yeah. For that initial outreach. Or for scraping data and scraping information and like fact finding. When it comes to negotiations, when it comes to closing, when it comes to presentation, listen, I just again, no one is going to buy right now $150 million property from an AI bot. I just don't see it. Maybe there is. If someone's watching this thing and they know a guy that does it, bro, tell that guy to call me. I'll give you my number. I just want to hear it. I want to see it. So we're using it in the initial stages, but not for every stage because, like, I got to understand the business. Got to have a conversation. I got to get into your Klaviyo account, your tech stack for retention. We got to look at the data. We got to hop on another call. We got to analyze the data. We got to figure out, okay, how are you looking to move the needle? What have you done in the past? What can we do? Like, all that is like, it's a lot of conversations, man. Like, it's a real sales process. That's where my head's at least.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I saw this in your page or someone else's page. I think it was your page of a lady that was in business for 20-something years and she had never spent $1 in marketing.
Unbelievable.
Was that your?
Yeah, was that my page.
What do you have to say to business owners watching this about the importance of advertising and investing in advertising?
This doesn't come from me. This comes from Gary Vee. Right? You can love him or you can hate him. Had the opportunity to be next to him a couple of times, several times, and again, like him or not, but you can't fake his bank account. You can't fake his success. Like, so, it's kind of like hating on, rest in peace. It's kind of like hating on a guy like Kobe Bryant. Like, what are you hating on, man? Like, you ain't got what he got, so just stop. He said that if you don't market and advertise as a business, as a brand, as a person, whatever the hell it is that you do, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You will be okay. You're going to be able to live your life, may make a couple mil, may make 10 mil, may make 15 mil, whatever. You're going to be fine. But just know that marketing and advertising and using social media is single-handedly the fastest way to completely crush the marketplace via mind and market share. So what do I say to all the business owners? I mean, listen, if you want to operate archaically, you can, and you're going to be completely fine. But just know that there's some 21-year-old that is marketing their ass off right now that will take you down in a couple of years. Guaranteed. 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 You have to do it. If you don't do it, honestly, you're asinine. Like, why would you not do it? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I don't know how it can be justified. Maybe it's an internal objection and something's wrong with you. To be honest with you.
With marketing, where do you draw the line between doing it yourself as a business owner and then hiring a marketing agency to do it for you? Where do you draw that line?
Yeah, I mean, if Elon Musk did everything for Tesla, would Tesla be where it is today? So it comes to a point where, I mean, in order to scale, you have to scale. In order to save time, you have to bring on people to save you time. I think that the personal brand thing should always be an area of focus, no matter if you're a $30,000 per year business owner or a $330 million per year business owner. I think that the personal brand needs to be something that you do all the time, and that's you, and you should have somebody with you on that. But of course, you're not going to be running flows and campaigns and dealing with ad spend and copy and all these things. Like, bro, you're not going to do that. There comes to a certain level that, like, pass that thing off, man. Like, it's okay. But in the beginning stages, you have to do it. And I also feel that it's good to know how to do it, so you know if someone knows their shit when you bring them on board, or if they're screwing you over. And always be up to date on that stuff. Always be training on that stuff. But bro, I can't do everything. Like, I like to say I can do everything, but come on, man. Like you think these guys that are out here running businesses with 10,000 employees, that they're running their own marketing campaigns? Bro, you're out of your mind. Like, no chance.
When you mentioned ad copy.
Yeah.
Our conversation that we had earlier before we started the podcast, when we were talking about Alex Hormozy, came up. And a lot of business owners, they don't believe in marketing, or at least like digital marketing. They don't really believe in it. And it's funny because on the $100 million leads book that we're talking about, he mentions that it's not about ads not working. It's about how effective you can make them work, which I find very interesting, because a lot of people, including myself for some time at least, I didn't really think marketing was as effective, but it can be very effective, like very effective. It can completely change a business from 1 month to the next.
Oh my God. Listen, this marketing thing, that initial acquisition, right? You have acquisition marketing. Obviously, we're in the retention marketing, right? But you have two types of marketing. You have your brand awareness marketing, which there is no call to action. It's just like, hey, we're here. Enjoy your day. And then you have your marketing that's like, hey, call to action, like, hey, let's do some business. Who's to say that a marketing campaign that you put out for brand awareness isn't working? Like, even if it gets in front of someone's eyeballs, even if they didn't even make a move,
it works more than call to action.
It worked because now why do you think McDonald's has a location on every single corner? Listen, I'm a healthy guy, ex-athlete, eat right, go to the gym all the time, still run with pro athletes all the time. Like, you find me at the track all the time. Like, that's what I do. But maybe once or twice a year, I'll have a McDonald's fry. Okay. So what I'm saying is this, and a large one, boy, because some things hitting. So, but what I'm saying is this. How many times do I drive by a McDonald's every single year and not pull the trigger, even when I'm starving? Bro, hundreds of thousands of times, because that's not good for you, and I'm just not going to eat that like that. But those 1,000 times leads to that one time where you're like, you know what? I'm going to have a large fry.
Wow.
So who's to say that you driving past McDonald's once didn't work? Who's to say that your brand awareness campaign didn't work? Like, I don't. It's just particles that are out there. It's matter. Bada boom. They move forward. Like, that's what this thing is, man. Like, what? Like, Coca-Cola is in every single soda machine. I will probably drink a Coca-Cola 3 times a year. But I see it every single day, which is the reason as to why I drink it 3 times a year. If I never saw Coca-Cola, probably would never drink it.
It's about being everywhere at all times.
Yeah, man.
Omnipresent.
Yeah, man. And bro, you just got to be in someone's eyeballs, man. Like, what? Bro, you got to do it, man. You got to do it. And the thing is, you can never expect an ROI from it.
You mentioned that you've been with Gary Vee a couple of times. You've hung out with him a couple of times. How do people grow that network to where you're able to hang out with these multi-millionaires? I mean, aside from the fact that you worked with Grant Cardone, you were next to a multi-millionaire, maybe a billionaire soon.
Yeah.
Or if he's not already a billionaire, who knows?
He's a Billy killer. Yeah.
How do people grow that network? How can people start hanging out with those successful people?
Man, you asked that question, and it's something that I'm constantly thinking with. and I'll answer your question, but I know that I'm only one like contact away, only one conversation away from really taking my game to the next level. Like I already know it. And so I'm constantly looking to build my network. You know, this network thing, it's a funny thing. It's you never know who you're in front of. And you never know that if who you're in front of today turns into someone that just completely crushes tomorrow. You just don't know. And so, you know, I'll say this, from playing sports and obviously from Florida State and whatnot, you know, we were always, we would go from the locker room where it's locker room talk. It's a little grind. You know what it is. And then all of a sudden we would have to go to a banquet where there's like 40 billionaires that donated 70 M's each to Florida State University. And so you got to change your lingo. You got to change how you talk. You got to change how you dress. You got to change the whole 9 yards. But when I was in those rooms, I'm like, oh my God, these people, they don't know me today. They only know me for a sport. That's awesome. But yo, how do I stay in contact with those people? So I was always looking at people as like, okay, I'm not necessarily looking for something from them, but I'm looking to learn something from them, maybe provide some sort of value from them, or at least keep them in my ecosystem. You know the statement that I said, burn the bridges, like there can be no plan B. There's only plan A. Yeah, that's for your business and what it is that you're working towards. But I want to keep every bridge open when it comes to a network. Every single bridge open when it comes to a network. And then what I would also say is this. You got to understand what you do or what you've done in the past that other people will have never been able to achieve. I talk about this with a lot of my sports guys. Either they played at the collegiate level, they're pros right now playing on Sundays, you know. And we talk about this from time to time. It's like sports is an incredible thing because everybody, for the most part, looks up to it. And so the sports thing is also a thing that you can only do at a very high level for a small window of your life. So you can always make 10 million in a year. You cannot always play Division I football. You can't do it. You cannot always run pro track and field. You cannot always go to the NFL. You cannot always do that. Business owners gravitate towards that. Because if I walk into a room and everybody's worth 10 M's or everybody made 10 M's last year, okay, that's great. Maybe I didn't make 10 M's last year. Maybe I didn't make 10 million. But ain't none of them did what I did in sports. And they will never be able to do what I did in sports because they're all 50, 60, and 70. So then that creates clout and credibility to yourself. So you got to understand that like everything that you've done, everything that you've accomplished, everything that you achieved, everything that you've been a part of, see which one of those things is physically impossible for everybody else to touch because it's only for a small window. For us athletes, it's that sports thing. And bro, everybody respects it if you did it at a high level, and they'll never be able to do it. So they may envy you, but they're going to look up to you, and that is a conversation starter, and it's a way to get into a room. So I'm just leveraging like things like that in a good way, and then being able to effectively communicate. Man, I always study people who can communicate well. Always. I watch the Grammys. I watch the Emmys. I watch the Oscars. I watch the SAG Awards. I watch news. I watch whatever. Not necessarily for the information, but for studying. How is the presenter doing? Is the host holding the audience's attention? Like, what are they saying when they're on stage and they receive an award? Like, that is fascinating to me, man. Effective communication is everything. And if you can effectively communicate, and even if you don't say a lot of things, but the things that you say them well, people will give you the time of day. Build your network that way.
So to fully circle back, funny enough.
Yeah.
You have to become a D1 player to have a good network.
No, I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is, that's hilarious. What I'm saying is like, I use some of that now, and I used to not use that, man. I used to not use that. I'm kind of a humble individual. A lot of people tell me, bro.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
But Hey, that's a sports guy. Yeah. Oh, did this. Oh, wow, he did that. Great. Hey, man, meet this guy. Meet that guy. Hey, his son did this. Oh, he played here. Oh, he loves this team. Like, bro, you got to figure out what people gravitate towards and then use that. Use it, but use it in the right way. So that's helped. That's helped a little bit.
How can you become a better communicator?
Man, first off, you know, I'll study the people who can. Bro, I love studying. I love watching Barack Obama speeches.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro, talk about a guy that just crushes communication. Like him or not, his policies on his foreign policies, domestic policies, his tax revision, whatever it is. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about he communicates so well. Like, it's crazy. How do you get better at communication is you study the people who communicate well. And it's not necessarily what they're saying, but it's how they're saying it and what they're not saying. There is no stutter. There is no but. There is no am. There is no and. There is no like. There is no pause.
No
it is no It is straight to the point every single time, no matter what. And they say the most profound things with the least amount of words possible, but each and every single one of those words is impactful. It's beautiful. So how do you become a better communicator? Same way you would become a better ball player. You got to play the game. You got to study the game, and you got to see who does it. Bro, if you want to run fast, you're not going to watch a guy who runs a 4.9 in the 40. You're going to watch this guy, Xavier, whatever, from Texas, who just ran a 4.21, the fastest 40 in the NFL Combine. That's the guy that I'm going to watch. And by the way, you know how I know his name? Well, obviously I follow football, and he's Texan, or he's from Texas. He played at University of Texas. But because he's everywhere right now, because he just broke a record, and now his brand went up. And I guarantee you he's going to be a number one, or he's going to be in the first round and get picked up and make $30 million because now his face is everywhere because he did one thing and now he's branded. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable.
So you have to be a student.
Have to be a student, man.
What do you think was the most valuable thing Grant Cardone taught you?
Oh, man, that's
you have to say one thing.
Yeah. You know, here's what I'll say to that. You learn 1,000 new things there every day. Every day. You learn 1,000 new things. From systems, operations, processes, how to execute, how to operate. Like, bro, it's ridiculous. What I will say is this. The thing that I saw, that I took, most important thing is to always be on. Never shut off. I remember the story he told us, you know where the Miami Heat play? For those who don't know, we're in Miami, Florida. That gave it away. But the Miami Heat, right? They play at the arena over here. It cost the arena more money to shut all the lights off, to turn everything down, and then go ahead and flip on the switch and turn everything back on because of the power than it does just to keep everything on. It's the same situation with your life. Like, you can shut off and turn on. You can shut off on Saturday and Sunday, but then your Monday shit. And then half of your Tuesday is shit. And then you're popping on Wednesday, you're popping on Thursday, and then Friday you're a happy hour, and then you run that whole cycle as opposed to stay on. It's like when you walk into a room, like, is your energy at an all-time high? Yo, I was around cameras all the time. I saw him always around cameras as far as, being on. Like, it didn't matter what was going on. Didn't matter what the drama was. Didn't matter if it was an upstat or downstat day. He was always on. Always freaking on. Always on. Always on. Every second of the day, night or day, always on. And so that's one of the biggest takeaways I got from him is that you can never shut off. And then you use that correlation, or you make that correlation to, high profile entertainers or some of the best athletes we've ever seen, and they never shut off either. Michael Jordan never shut off. Kobe Bryant never shut off. Serena Williams never shut off. Can't shut off. That's a challenge, though, to stay on.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that answer. That was just very good. That was powerful.
Yes, sir.
That was very powerful.
Yeah.
if someone's starting out a business,
Mm-hmm.
well, let me rephrase that. If someone's starting a business,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
Yeah. Test the marketplace before you produce your product.
What does that mean?
Everybody always produces a product and then tries to sell it. Sell that thing right now. See if there's some traction in the marketplace. Then produce the product. Meaning like, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to start a business and I want to open up a solar company. Okay, awesome. Open up a solar company. I love that. Start making calls and start vetting and start canvassing and acting like you actually have a solar company and get traction for a solar company while you're opening up the solar company. As opposed to doing everything prior to and then going to the marketplace and then trying to tell everybody that you have a solar company. Like, I'm telling
Coming
you,
up
bro.
with a name, making the logo.
Yeah, bro, whatever, man.
Just start selling without even solar panels.
Just start going, bro. Like, because it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Of course,
it's gonna take a little bit of time, and if you're working for somebody else right now, don't negate the fact that you can learn on their dime. You can learn on their dime. Like, you can really understand a business working for another business. And then if you want to jump into entrepreneurship and obviously you have a job at a different business, that's great. Test the marketplace first. Tell people, see what they're saying, see what they need. Like, use questionnaires, gather data and information. Like, they'll tell you because you want to have immediate traction. You don't want to obviously go into business and not sell anything for 5 years, man. Like, I would rather go into business and have 27 pre-orders and then figure out the business as opposed to figuring out the business and then have no orders for the next 7 months.
Wow. It's like Grant Cardone says, commit first.
Yeah,
the rest
honestly,
later.
bro. Honestly, bro,
Mike, my last question is,
Yeah.
what does success mean to you?
What does success mean to me? Success to me means worldwide impact. Success to me, I'll know that I made it. Not by what I did. I write down to be a New York Times bestselling author on the cover of Forbes with $4 billion, living in downtown New York, able to provide 10 million foster kids with homes, own a baseball team, be a mogul in the real estate space, but also a business mogul in the entertainment space, like an incredible father, like incredible partner. Like, I write those things down every single day, but that has nothing to do with success. But none of that is success to me. None of the last things that I just said is success. Success to me is when I die, that every single news channel in the entire freaking universe stops what it is that they're doing and says that Mike Schill passed, and then shows the accolades as far as impact on the world that I've had. And my last name is in history books, not for me, but for my son. And if I have another kid and their sons and daughters and their sons and daughters and their sons and daughters, like, bro, that's success. Like, success is that you're written in history. Success is that you're not just on an epitaph in a cemetery, that you're in history books and they talk about you for hundreds of thousands of years. Like Napoleon, Hercules, Jesus. These are names that will never, ever, 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 ever fade. That's true success. So that's what I'm aiming for, but brick by brick, man, brick by brick.
I know I said that was my last question, but
I want
to ask you one more thing.
Go ahead.
If you and I sit down 10 years from now, where do you see yourself? What are your 10-year goals?
Man.
Those that you write down every single day.
Yeah. My 10-year goal, my 10-year-old or 10-year-old.
Or long-term goals. Let's put it that way. 10 and long-term.
I mean, as stated before, long-term goals are New York Times bestselling author on the cover of Forbes, worth $4 billion. Living in New York City, but I have multiple locations, able to provide 10 million foster kids with homes, part owner of a professional team of somewhat, heavily known in the business and entertainment space, and being a household name. Like, that will happen. Within the next 10 years, though, I'm telling you right now, this agency. I want it to be $1 billion evaluated company, this marketing firm. But I would be lying if I told you that I knew exactly the way that it's going to get there, and if what we're doing today is going to get us there in 10 years. I feel that the agency is going to be there, but I honestly, in my like wholeheartedly believe that within the next 10 years, I'm going to be 1,000% only in the entertainment space. Swear. And it will be via business, brand collaborations and partnerships, executive production, and actually on the screen myself. Guaranteed 1,010%. The entertainment space is where I will be, but it will be from a business side as well as on the screen, man. Like it's just gotta be. It's just gotta be. You know, I look up to guys like Tyler Perry and all these individuals, the guys like Paul Riviera, and LeBron James, Mav Carter, LeBron James crew, and them putting out, you know, Netflix series, documentaries, TV shows, doing big brand deals in the athletic space. Like, bro, that's what I'll be doing, man. Like, that's it. Guaranteed.
Mike, the Full Circle Agency.
Let's roll.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you, man. Enjoy what you're doing too, man. Great conversation.